John Byers.
John Byers, nice to meet you.
It's a good lesson.
It's a good last name. Everybody moved places. That doesn't usually happen.
I don't like it.
You're out of your element. I know,
I
wait.
don't
Now,
know. It's done.
did you guys didn't like where you were before? Hey, Tyler.
Good morning.
You're back.
I'm back for a little bit.
Okay. How many got their homework ready? You don't have a book, do you, John?
No.
Get you one. I also need you to make a name tag for yourself and get your name tags out. Put them up.
Sipping on both sides?
Just print it and make sure I can read it. Sometimes I'll see a name and it won't look anything like the person's name and I won't know who that is. You guys really confuse me. So
Remember, I kept having an inch over.
okay, so you all figured it out? Yeah, you're good except for Tyler. Tyler, you gotta move to the left. What? So you all tried to make sure that you were all
Yes.
Good job. Good job, except Tyler, you got to come this way.
I gotta move over.
Just a little bit.
Oh, you just want to see my face.
Always. I cannot be around with somebody, and I know you guys hide so you can like be doing your phone or whatever, but I just have to be able to see you. Alright, so, John, the first day was business development yesterday, and we had some homework, and it was to, just to bring everybody in, it was to do a 30 bullet point about your ideal client that has nothing to do with their personality, in the sense of they're nice, they're easily decisive, those aren't the kind of things, but we'll hear that. So everybody's going to tell me they have their 30-day bullet point of their ideal client. And then you were also to do time blocking. In other words, you were to take those 5 categories of work and use a sheet. And I made some extras somewhere, if you need them, and you can have more, of how many hours a week you were going to devote to working, and then you were going to put those into time blocking. So, let's start with Lindsay. How did you do, Lindsay?
With the time blocking or the?
Well, let's start with time blocking.
Okay. I think I did okay.
Okay, so all of this pink, right,
Yes.
is other, your own time. And all the inside colors are your working, and this accounts for how many hours?
40.
Huh. You guys still look at 40 hours. Is that amazing? Isn't that, I mean, I'm not even paying attention to as to what, but look at all the pink time. See, we think we're working all the time, but if you concentrated 40 hours and really worked, you would have plenty of time for family and other things. And you could even trade a little bit and still not be working 24/7, right? So did that impress you? Just to exercise yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. So imagine if you made yourself do these things religiously. So you didn't do the village meetings on Tuesdays, but that's okay. But you gotta remember, you've got some things that are already built in.
Yeah.
And you might want to make Thursdays at 2 when we do a lot of our labs a 5 time, because that's when you want to make sure you're here. At the beginning, you need to be like a sponge. You need to show up for almost everything you can possibly. So you got to say, I'm going to block out Tuesday mornings and maybe until I really know everything, especially on those labs, maybe Thursday at 2, because that's when we have a lot of the labs. They all mixed up the shares. So where are we going to put Tim? Tim? Well, they're going to have to tell you, because there's this real need for everybody that's now in their perfect spot. So where are we going to put Tim? Now if he sits there,
There you go.
That's better, yeah.
You can't block anybody behind you.
Can't miss me right here.
I like a man who sits in the front row.
Hey!
Woo! And, oh,
I was here first.
let me stop. I love a man or woman who sits in the
Subjecting myself to
Wow,
being.
it was already politically incorrect.
It wasn't about being a man or woman, but I was already.
That's right, Lindsley, I'm
I am
sorry.
more impressive than you.
Yeah, forget it, Tim. You're never gonna outdo it. All right, let's see some other time blocking pictures. That's beautiful. How many hours?
It's actually like 38.
38?
40, but
Wow. Was that a surprise?
yeah.
It is a surprise because when we think we've got to work, you're gonna, oh my God, I'm working so much. You think this whole thing is not gonna be covered with work. And it really doesn't have to be. If you're focused and you are efficient and you're dedicated to the time at hand, and you make those decisions, you do. You can. So I call it self-controlled working hours. Remember, people go, I want to set my own schedule, and then you don't. I'm walking a little funny because my back went into his head, so I didn't want you to have a meeting. Lizzie.
Well, I do them both, and I'm 35 hours.
Good. How do you feel about that? Yeah. Now, you understand you're going to put these categories, and you're going to put something, and the green is time for clients.
Make sure that you start and end your day, checking in with your clients, doing
What about showing properties? That's green.
that's fine.
Okay. So you aren't coming to the sales meeting. Good. Now, so when someone calls, now, and this is just an exercise. This isn't, we're not filing this on never to be moved. But if someone were to call and say, I'd like to look at property, you don't say, what time would you like to do that? If you call and make an appointment with a dentist or a doctor, they don't say, when would you like to come? They might say morning or afternoon, something like that, and then they'll tell you when they have available. And that's kind of what I want you to say, is something like, well, that's great, I would love it, I have time, we need to set an appointment, I have time to meet with you on Wednesday, or a Thursday at 5, you know what I'm saying? So you control this schedule, and it will be changed as time goes on, but you have to realize this can't all be green, this can't all be red, this can't all be any of those colors. All of those are real critical. So you've got to make sure that you're not letting yourself be derailed from all the others. How's your foot? How do you feel about that? How many hours?
That was 4 days.
Oh, 2 days off. Saturday and Sunday, I love it. How are you going to do that if the client wants to look at property? You're going to say, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, and times are available to see.
And when do you think you have to set up that expectation?
In the beginning.
Now, if somebody were flying in, and they only have 1 weekend, and they're going to buy a house, and they're already pre-qualified, and they're ready to go, would you make an exception?
Yeah, someone will have to take my daughter ballet on me.
But that's what I'm saying. So, but in order to make an exception, you have to make sure that this person is really, I don't want to say worthy of an exception, but in a sense ready, you know, because I'm not going to just take somebody who's decided, you know, I think we might want to look at property, or in the next 6 months we might want to move, or I haven't been to a lender, but you know what I'm saying? So this first meeting, before you start rearranging your schedule, has to really be during your time, and then you analyze and decide, okay, is this something that I really need to move some things around for because it's in a more urgent situation? Or is this just, you know, something that we can work at our pace until we get to that? We're reactive rather than proactive, and we let people believe that they're urgent. Tyler, Do you ever think people act more urgent than they are about things?
100%.
Wait till something runs you in the car and you think they're ready and it's now 6 months. We've looked at 120 houses. You've given up your family's christening for niece and nephew. You've now no longer been asked to be the godfather because, I mean, truly.
Yeah.
And then these people finally say, no, we've decided we're not going to buy. And you have just put in hours and hours on everything. And it's not their fault, it's your fault that you didn't spend time at the beginning identifying the urgency. And as I said yesterday, you're going to have to learn triage. How many have been to the emergency room? For something. Anywhere from a broken toe to something more serious.
I can add something to that too.
Go ahead.
Don't fall into that trap yourself. As the agent, you're the one that controls everything. And I see all the time agents fall into that same trap. Everything's urgent. Everything has to happen right now. And that's when I get phone calls at midnight from you guys that are panicked.
Yeah.
And it's like, it can wait until 8 a.m.
You really can.
Really, things can. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Unless it's a deadline for an inspection.
Well,
and then you are in trouble for waiting till midnight.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So when you get to the emergency room, and let's say you've got a broken toe. Okay, so you go to the emergency room, and it's always at night, right? It's always at night. And it happens to be the night when everybody else's toes broke or whatever. But here you are, you walk in, and there's 100 people in the emergency room. And you find out you're maybe 10th in line, right? And the first thing that happens after you sign in is you get called back there, right? To this room, and you think, wow, this is going great. You get in the room, there's this person, and they take your temperature, and they do your blood pressure, and they ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad's your pain? And you're supposed to rate it, and so you say, you don't want to say 10, you're on a broken toe, so you say, 6. And you write all that down, and what's wrong with you? Then they send you back out. And you sit. And then in comes somebody staggering, and they go right in, and another person comes in, and they're looking pretty pale, and they go in, and they never come out, and you're sitting there. What is happening? What is that room that you go into? What's that called? That's triage. And what's happening in there? They're assessing the need and the urgency. How fast do I need to work on you? I went in one time, and I didn't know, but I couldn't walk, and I was out of breath, and I couldn't make it from the parking lot. I got in, they took me into triage, and expecting, comes to find out I had no blood. And they took me immediately. I was in the bed and transfusions. I had 4 blood transfusions. I didn't know I was leaking blood, but whatever. And so I thought, now there's a need. Now it was urgent. I didn't even know it, but I got in. So if you're going to have emergency room and you're going to get the realtor's attention, the damn well better be ready or dying. Okay, let me see yours. Oh, Betsy, did you hold yours up first? How many hours?
It's actually 44.
44. Wow, you still have plenty of time. And you have a day off. So what happens if somebody calls and they want to see you on Wednesday?
Tell them it's hump day. I work on hump day.
Well, you should have to say you don't work.
Another appointment.
Well, because I want to tell you something. You're not only going to have one person. You're not going to be able to see everybody you're working with at the same time. You're going to have to coordinate a schedule. Now, maybe in the beginning you say, well, I only have one client, I'm going to give them all my time. No, well, that's the baby you pick up because they're crying. And they're going to refer their other friends that our baby's crying. And they're going to say, this guy answers his phone dinner. And then you're going to try to back up your business and say, wait a minute, that was just when I was getting started. And now you have a bad reputation for not living up to the reputation you created. So it's hard to back up. I do have a friend, though, that decided she was never going to work on weekends. I mean, California, everybody in California. Your business will fall off. You'll never be able to make it. She said, I'm sick of working. I might work Saturday, a little bit, but I'm never gonna work on Sunday. And this was Scott, it's before I moved here, so it's gotta be 30 years ago. She has never worked on a Sunday, and her business flourishes. And she tells them, I have a day, maybe Sunday, and I spend it with my family, my children, my grandchildren, and unless, you know, there's, and there never really is, you know, life and death for that particular day.
Well, how many of you guys know a salesperson that tells you, call me any day or night, here's my cell phone, I'm there for you, and you think, oh man, they're desperate. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what that sounds like.
Because what if they had 3 people they told? What if you had 10? What if you had 5 listings and 6 buyers, and all of these people had free reign to call you day or night, anytime? You would lose out. You would not be able to service them. And then you would get a very bad reputation, and you would be a burned out piece of paper. Burned out piece of paper. How about yours?
Mine needs a little work. I only had pink, so it looks like this.
So, you're the one that needed that.
I know, I do need it. I really do need it.
This is the one that said there's like 100 hours.
Well,
As an assistant.
that's right.
Yeah, we need to have some real meetings here with somebody.
We're working on it. So yeah, I'll work on it. Can you explain Blue Time though? Selling your services. I need a little.
That was green, and that was not blue. Oh yeah, that was green. That is actual belly to belly, meeting clients with prospect. We're not doing the actual doing, meeting people from lunch, meeting your, or, could be actually the sending of the emails, could be calling your 10 calls a day, passing out your 5. It's the actual doing that's not quite ready for the show, which is the 3.
Perfect.
Okay? Donna, how does yours look? Just hold it up for everybody to see. Lots of pink. How many hours, Donna?
30. I ended up upgrading to 30 because I was like, oh my gosh, if I'm careful about this, I can do 30 hours.
And that's still time for you to do your other job?
Oh yeah, I actually blocked out the specific days that I do my songwriting and
So does that make you feel better?
It's
Sometimes when it's
amazing.
all in here, it feels like we're just, oh my God, if we don't work all the time, it's gonna.
it felt like that if you know, it's funny because there's a certain cost investment in this whole process, and I told my husband last night, I said, I feel like yesterday was like if I had to delegate what was the most valuable to me out of the money that we put in at the beginning, like yesterday was like 75% of that in my head as far as
So things are
so
starting.
good.
Well,
Yeah.
because things start to, you
So
know,
good.
when we first get into this, it's just this big overwhelming, whatever, a big cloud. And then as you get into it and you start applying, it is doable, but it's like biting it in pieces, not this explosion. So that's good. I'm glad that, Paul, how's yours look?
In progress. So it turned into a family affair.
A family.
Because it's like, alright.
Is that a song?
You
Yeah.
said a family,
It's
yes.
not, you know, because we're running this by ourselves, right? So the person I actually said, so when would you like to see things done with together? Like when do we need to set aside time? And that turned into a mess. But it's been a while, which is like, oh, once in a while, right? It was good, it was good.
Well, it is good, because that is another thing I really wanted to say to everybody. If you are in a relationship, a marriage, with children, you have to have the support of the other party.
And this was what,
You have to sort of buy in, but then you have your part too. If you're saying this is your own time, then that it's got to be just as preserved or protected as the green time or the blue time. That's just like an appointment, and you have to treat the family with the same respect. And they have to be supportive too at the times when you aren't.
And that was it. I'm going to support whatever it is, but here's what I'd like to do, because this is my schedule, and if they work together, that'd be great.
So good.
It's gonna be a fun day, because
Okay. Are
Balance.
you in conflict?
no, gosh, no.
No, not with you, but each other.
not at all.
Just trying to.
Yeah, just trying to make sure it's okay. It's actually, it's worth conversation.
Force good. I'm glad I contributed. Communication and relationship.
Well, time's up for it.
So mine's 25 hours, and there's a lot.
Oh my goodness.
But
She's just gonna be laying around eating chocolates and bars.
That's what I do. But I will say that pink is not a primary color, so we've got pink and highlighter, and then the others are crayons. It's kind of actually hard to see my contrast color.
I'm sorry, I should rearrange it. Would you be in charge of finding colors that would work?
No. I just went, so like there is red up here, but it's
Okay,
kind of hard,
okay.
and this is
Yeah.
orange up here, so it's
Okay.
actually it's a little hard to see.
But you got it.
Yeah, I got it.
And how do you feel?
Oh, it's great. I live my life in a constant state of flexibility, so I would really have to work hard on okay, this is actually going to be like a permanent day off. Because our weeks, my husband's in music and entertainment, so our weeks, we really don't have
Nobody has a real job.
yeah, there's no off day for him, so I do kind of make my week around, okay, when's your off day? And there's
It doesn't have to be, this is a weird, it can be different every day.
Totally.
I'm not saying it has to be the same thing every week. You've got to get a fair rhythm so that you can count on certain things and know that the others support it.
Absolutely. But also since my background is in dentistry, it is funny, like,
It is like
when
that.
people are like, hey, you know what, I actually have availability here, and it's just kind of derailed. You never really say no to each different option. It's like, you know, actually, how about this morning, or how about this day?
Yeah.
And
I called up the dentist and I said, is there any chance in the world that I could get in next Monday at 2? And they went,
Good luck.
It's mine.
good job, I see some pink on there.
Lots of people. And those are actually supposed to be pink. They just take
So what do you think?
It
If you said it was fun, let that down.
actually, I mean, I did have more downtime when I fixed my bit.
And how many hours?
That's 49. I broke it by a little bit.
That's okay, but look at that.
Yeah,
That's 50 hours. And look at stuff.
I know. Well, and Sunday I've got ways for open houses. That's my business development. And then Saturday, the day before, is usually me going out door knocking.
But
Before
look at
the-
Saturday morning. Are you
Yeah,
gonna stick to it?
that's all football and stuff, you know.
So you're gonna stick to it? Because what if you had a client already and somebody called, what would you say? I can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would. Try. Yeah, I would.
Well, actually, what you would say is, if we met,
Mm-hmm.
we need to get together and figure it out. I don't just drop everything and somebody call.
Yeah. Yep. That's all message.
So you're great at this stuff, you know.
Oh,
We
yeah.
all are.
Oh, yeah.
This is not because I mastered it or I'm a genius. This is because when I moved here, I was in my house in California, and I had a business, a very large business. I had a team, and I was selling in California at that time, probably 23 million. And that was kind of a lot, because I wasn't in LA or anything. But it was a good clip. I carried about 80 listings at all time.
Wow.
I remember when I went down to 12 in the market shifting when I thought I was going to have anyway, it was an amazing thing. And I remember one day I was home, at my home, and we had, and I stayed home that day for some reason, I don't remember, but I think I don't know if I've told you this story, just, I'm going to shut up because I know. So the pool man came to clean the pool. The gardener came to mow the lawn, take care of the garden. The cleaning lady came to clean the house. The guy came, and I was just watching this happen. It was the guy came to deliver the laundry, not the laundry, the dry cleaning and pick it up. Who else came? Anyway, and then the final capper was this pink truck pulled into my driveway to wash my copper spaniels. Because, I couldn't get out to get them there, so they came to my house, pulled in and washed them in the truck in the front yard. And I was sitting around and watching all of this going on at my house. There was more activity at home than there was at the office. And I thought, I am working what was day and night so that all these people could do the things that I couldn't do because I was working day and night. And I said, something's really off in this picture. And that's when I decided that I had to change. Because I also did a profit and loss statement. And and I'm just going to share this with you. In 1986, I think it was 86 or 87, I got a 1099 for $405,000, which I thought in 87 was hot shot. That's fantastic. And then I did my profit and loss, and I took home to the home to use for household bills and everything, $100,000. Now that was still good, but I thought, you're kidding. Out of $400,000, I really only had $100,000. The rest was going to salaries and all this stuff to keep this business. I said, this doesn't make sense. This makes no sense. So you've got to constantly monitor. You know, money is great, but you've got to be able to balance your life and how much is enough. And then where are you using it for? So it's just something I want you to start now, because don't wait till it's all upside down and you have to move to Tennessee to change your life. I said, we are leaving this thing. And so I was going to sit on a porch, you know, and drink mint juleps and not work. Anyway, but I never did go back to that kind of lifestyle. I never did, because it was really insane. Yes.
I had a question, kind of an applied question. So I'm working with a friend. She's a single mother, $150,000 budget, and is looking for a house.
So how do you know she's ready to buy?
Well, she's fully ready to buy, but like for instance, the other day.
How do you know?
She's pre-approved.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to know how you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I put her into lender to get
Okay.
pre-approved. So in that case, where a single family detached house comes on the market, it's a hot potato, and by the end of the day, there's 5 offers on it. That's
You're
exactly
right.
what happened. So how do you navigate? If that was one of my evenings off, would you recommend partnering with another agent that likes to work evenings, or just saying, no house for you today? Or how do you navigate that?
What do you think, Tom?
I mean, at the end of the day, this is what you're going to have to decide for yourself. I mean,
Is that the exception?
is that the exception? And that's ultimately your decision for you.
And it's an exception, and I said, if you've got something that you know, then we can make, but that doesn't mean that, so if you trade, you may trade sometime, especially if it's in the middle. So yeah, there are those, but that is not every single one of your clients, all at the same time. It might have felt that way maybe a year ago, or 6, 8 months ago, but it was amazing too. It isn't like that right now, even though in that price point it is. But, so you may have to be a little more diligent. You may have to look at your time, and now you've got a couple of those clients, you've got them, do you have them on auto-notify for yourself, and you're looking, so you may have blocking. What if you were going to look at the hot sheets every morning to see what's come on, and her auto-notify, and you're in there? What kind of time would that be? 1, 2, 3, or
Hot sheet.
what would that be?
The green listing selling.
Could be green, yeah. It may well be. And so maybe we have some of that kind of time first thing in the morning. That's when we block that kind of time, where we're actually in there, because we want to make sure we're in a price point that moves quickly. So, you know, you adjust your times, but you still are on your schedule. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And you're returning phone calls. And especially when you have an offer in with deadlines, yeah, you got to pay attention to those deadlines. And, unfortunately, others don't always work on my schedule. But I just want you to know it's not the norm. Not everybody's urgent at the same time, wanting the same house at the same minute. And you've got to make triage to see. And if you happen to triage and you've got 5 people that are urgent, that's when people start creating teams and getting assistance. And I think realtors should always have a partner. Not necessarily as a team, but a backup. Because God knows, I want you guys to be able to take a vacation. And you should be able to take some time off. So I always had somebody that I felt was, you know, kind of my style, or we worked well together. And I know you guys think, oh my God, then I have to share the money. It's back to that balance. You know what I mean? How much is enough? Well, I don't have anything, and if I have it, well then don't ever take any time off and see how that works for you. You know, so have somebody, and know that every time you go away, it's going to cost you in business. Unless you have a clone or somebody completely that will do it all, you're going to lose something. Or you're going to have to pay somebody some of it. So it's just built into the process. You're an entrepreneur. You don't get paid vacations in the same way that people who go on vacation still get paid. It's just how it is.
And I'll say too, set those relationships, get those relationships started now before you do get crazy, or before you go on vacation. When my wife and I went on vacation in June, the day we were leaving,
of course.
we went to Scotland. The day we were leaving, I was going to be gone like a week and a half. A client says, I want to list my condo right now.
Yeah.
I'm headed to the airport. I'm literally in a lift headed to the airport. I'm like, yeah,
I got nothing.
I'm sorry. But luckily, I have relationships with another agent. I've helped him out in the past. Called him, I said, hey man, can you list this condo for me? And it actually sold within 2 days.
You came home.
The inspection was done. I came home from vacation, literally closed like a week later. Did nothing. But
you paid the other guy.
of course I paid him. Yeah, I mean he did a lot of the work, but you know, if you're making $3,000 or $4,000 commission, you know,
that you wouldn't have had.
that I wouldn't have had if it went to somebody else. I mean, to pay him $500 or $1,000 out of that is worth it.
Yes.
I didn't do anything.
Exactly.
But I had set up that relationship beforehand.
And what else he set up beforehand, I pray, is the amount of money the person was going to get for the scenario. There's nothing worse than he thinks he's getting 50 or you're getting 25 and you're going to fight about who did the most work and blah, blah, blah. This all has to be set up prior, because then there's nothing more ugly and it burns relationships. So whatever your agreement is, make sure it's not only be there for me, man, but what is it that we're going to work out in our compensation, because it's never fun later, but that's a great example.
Yeah,
so
just be ready when they need you. Just be, you know, like
yeah.
It goes both ways.
And Village requires that if you go on vacation, it is absolutely required that somebody is there to answer your calls. Absolutely, and it's on file. Because I get the calls from the client that says, my agent hasn't returned my call and I can't find them. And then I have to call and see, are they out of town? And then they haven't registered that. And then I find out from their friend somewhere, oh yeah, they went to Europe.
Who registered that?
Your broker, who will give it to the front, you know, so that we know if somebody calls, we know to give that call to the person that's standing in. Unless you're going to take all your calls while you're on vacation, which is fine, but you better have somebody else who can do something if they need to have something done. All right, real quick, well, not real quick, I want everybody to do this exercise. How many did the 30 bullet points? Okay, who wants to read their, you didn't? Tim. I'm so disappointed.
I know.
Because
I knew you were going to say that.
You did?
Yeah.
We had a dream. Because I was waiting, because I've got this image of you, and I was just dying to see what this.
Well, I have sort of a list in my head already.
Okay.
I already have.
All right.
I already have some things up here already. So.
Okay, but I need to get it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Who wants to tell us? Who wants to read their 30 bullet points? Steve.
I guess I should.
Now look at Steve.
Volunteer.
I want everybody to look at Steve, and we've already assessed, we've all made judgments about you. Because we do, don't we? Haven't you all judged each other for, not in a bad way, but you've already sort of assessed kind of their person, who they are, kind of could match it up. So let's see. John, are you doing okay?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just looking over.
No, you can't. Have you been in real estate before?
Yeah, 14 years.
So this is just old shit for you. Okay, I'm sorry. We're gonna get to some good stuff in a minute. But this is really interesting. Are you from Nashville?
No, I just moved from California, from Los Angeles.
That's where I'm from.
Yeah.
You knew that?
Oh, well, you just said you were in California.
Yeah, I did.
Lucy, you're from California too. Yeah, just about 2 years.
I mean, I'm originally from Virginia, but I just spent 10 years out there.
And why'd you move here?
A few reasons. I had some investors that were doing a lot of things out here, and I kind of wanted to be close to my mom again.
Okay. So, who were you with in LA?
Keller Williams, John Arrow Group, Remax, and Sotheby's. Sotheby's was the last one.
Wow, and you chose Village, or have you chosen?
Yeah, yeah.
And why?
I just like it seemed very progressive and innovative. And
Did you interview at Keller?
yeah,
Williams?
no, I didn't do Keller Williams out here. I did the EXP and Benchmark.
And you chose us? Very interesting.
Yeah.
I would like to hear a little bit more about that, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay, Steve, let everybody look at Steve and see if you think this is accurate.
I'm trying not to do this. Cooperative?
No. Does anybody want to work with an uncooperative person? Anybody? Okay, I said no personality trait. Okay. So, the reason is, listen, Steve, we're looking for a uniqueness. I don't care what the person's like, nobody wants an uncooperative asshole. Right? Has anybody got uncooperative? Okay. So do we have anything that doesn't fall into those kind of categories?
That's not personality traits. Is ready to act.
No, everybody wants somebody ready to act. What I'm saying is this is universal anybody.
Yeah,
This is everybody's ideal client so far.
Likes football.
Flexible.
No.
Wine lover?
No, let's just listen to Steve. What else you got there?
Open-minded.
Nope. Anybody want to work with a closed-minded asshole? Okay.
Organized. I mean, every single one of them are some type of
Really?
problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, someone else. Paul?
Yeah,
Let's look at Paul.
thanks. Loves dogs, likes to remodel, watches HGTV.
That's really good.
Thank you.
That's really good. He's only gotten 3. Good job, Paul.
Thanks, yeah. Actually, across the top, like lives in 37013. I really want that area. So
Where is 37? Okay. We are getting nearer.
Either first time home buyer or upgrading their current home from upgrading their starter home. Because I want to create a
I got it.
family with children or new family expecting to have children.
Okay.
I'm selling grass, looking for yard, dogs, cats, loves to eat out or enjoys cooking because we can talk about food. And
Okay.
I put shops at Publix because that's a good place to find those people that are cooking and
Okay.
HTV. Binge watches Netflix. And so we have something to talk about while we're out all day. Like to attend concerts, volunteer since a volunteer neighborhood. We're in a community, yeah, you're with me. Or runs fundraiser races.
Runs races?
Yeah, like the fundraiser races. So
Okay.
sometimes it's all in the community. Sense of religion or higher game, just so we can
Right.
make the process. Likes antique cars, and that's what I'm talking about.
Antique cars.
Yeah. Shop at TJ Maxx. I'm gonna send them there anyways, so they might as well get ready to be there. Takes care of family, likes to travel. I put technologically savvy just because
Okay.
it's how I communicate, so if you
Okay.
get to. I did put self-motivated. I know it's a tough personality trait, but
Okay, I'll let you have
it's
that.
gonna help me a lot. Shops online. Has at least 3 favorite ice cream flavors.
What?
Has at least 3 favorite ice cream flavors.
Okay, cool.
I need you to know at least 3. Likes to host parties or and supports their friends.
Wow. Can you see that person? We even know where they live. Does that match? And who's that like, Paul?
I have no idea.
I have no idea who that person might be. So now, look at all the ways that he can communicate and touch and be connected to his ideal client. So he needs to go and be involved in those places and meet those people. And when he sends a touch, his 30-day message, he's not going to talk about, I'm the greatest realtor. I mean, yeah, you're going to say, I sold this house or I did that. But you're going to talk to them about things that interest them. Because that's the hook. People already assume that you know how to sell real estate. You got a license. They don't know you don't know how to do it. But you're learning. We'll make the skill. What they want to know is this person that I can connect with. Is this somebody who gets me? That's who they work with. Wouldn't you say that was true everywhere universally? I'm going to use you, John, now from my California connection. Okay? That was great, Paul. Did that help you? So now you know how you're going to market, how you're going to talk,
Well,
where
it
you're
changed my
going to
marketing
be.
plan.
Huh?
It changed my marketing plan.
Did it change your marketing?
Yeah, so I use Facebook marketing, and so what I had targeted is going to have to change.
Great.
There you go.
I love it. Who else has a 30-day point? Now that you know, Steve, what we're doing, does that help?
Steve, I'm sorry, yeah.
Did that help you understand what we were doing?
No, absolutely. When he was reading the list, I was thinking, yeah, that makes so much sense.
For Paul.
For Paul, but I mean, just.
But it's not necessarily for you.
No.
I mean,
No.
you're not going to talk about the latest, I don't know if you would, the Netflix binge series.
Nailed it.
But yet, if he talked about that, his people would be all over it.
Like, yeah, but I agree with her. I think I can be like, okay, well,
Come on in.
but yeah, that's great.
Okay, who else wants to share? Donna.
So
So
I
look
had
at
to-
Donna.
I had to cross out 9 because they were personality traits. And I might have more that I don't. I have.
Even though I said that over and over yesterday,
Yeah, I
it
totally
just goes
missed-
right over everybody's
it did.
head.
So not reading the personality trait ones, which were my bringing my grade down to 65%. Wine lover, adventurous, foodie. I also said technology savvy, loves sports, loves decorating, enjoys good music. Outdoor person, dog park person, pet lover, kind of the same, one and the same, but I cheated and put it in 2 spaces. Loves community, is a cheerleader for people who earn their respect. Is that a personality trait?
Is a cheerleader.
Cheerleader for people who earn their respect. That's a personality trait, isn't it?
That's pretty general.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm just teaching myself as I go. Willing to get out of their comfort zone. Is that also sort of? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now we're down to 61%. Okay. Eats dessert first. Celebrates life. Kayaks. Is creative. Is that personality? Kind of.
But no, that will
Okay.
take some of that, as opposed to a nerd.
Okay, loves coffee, enjoys cooking, and loves to dance.
Okay, those are good. Now you're going to add to that. I don't have any age. I don't have any,
Right.
where they like to go. You said they like to, but I don't know what kind of music.
Gotcha.
Are they country? Are they jazz? Are they? Those are all important.
Right.
Okay, so get more specific. Who else wants to do it?
I'll do it.
Okay, Lindsay.
Okay, I mean, I'm gonna have to scratch some of mine out too. Older, well educated.
How old is older?
Older than
25.
Yeah.
Older is pretty.
Okay. Close to maybe my parents' age. Maybe
How old is that?
70, 72.
Old people. Okay.
Older than.
Got it. I got it. I just want to know what you thought
Yes.
was old.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Well, I
Okay.
don't think of it old, but older.
But if you said older, it could have been
That's
in
true.
your mind.
Huh?
You're what?
Well educated.
Number one after.
Anglophile.
Anglophile?
Yeah, like I like to watch British TV. Anything,
Oh,
anybody
okay.
that likes anything about Britain.
I didn't mean to, I just didn't know. No,
Okay.
okay. They like British TV. That's interesting.
Has grown kids. I mean, I was searching for things that weren't likes good wine or bourbon. Reads a lot.
Yeah.
Not a Trump supporter.
That's not hard.
It's not as hard around here in the city. Sorry, I'm sorry. I really can't stand them.
Why do you apologize?
Church goes.
Okay, what else?
Enjoys laughing. Looking to downsize or looking for investment property. Good cook. Enjoys outdoors. Loves Halloween. Loves Christmas. Buys a real Christmas tree and not a fake one, like my parents.
Well, I gotta tell you, when you get to the
allergies,
70, I'm getting
I
towards
know.
the ceramic. It's
It
goes on
makes me so
the, you
depressed.
plug it in and
Yes.
then you put it, it's not
That's my parents. That's my
I
parents.
know, I'm sorry, we're done with the shit and Christmas tree and meals and all that crap.
Okay, well,
We've done it and been there, done it. I mean, the thought of getting
I'm
out
still
of that-
working on my parents to
Don't
go
work on them,
backwards.
give them happiness and let it put the
Well, I
dance-
put a big tree
Well,
up,
good.
so they can just come over. Has grandkids, likes gardening, doesn't use anything but incandescent light bulbs, especially at Christmas.
What?
Doesn't it?
No,
I hate them.
oh, Jesus.
I hate one.
Hey, I'm not your ideal client.
No, I love your Holly's LEDs. I'm trying to get her away from warmth and okay. Likes to entertain, likes to dance, listens to NPR on a regular basis, likes all kinds of music.
Okay. That's a real specific person.
Well, I tried to.
No, that's good.
I think it's her.
It's my
You
parents.
just described it.
It's mostly my parents, really, and a lot of their friends.
And how you're wanting to change them to be better.
Only a Christmas tree and incandescent bulbs. That's the only thing.
So maybe you give them a gift certificate, or for a closing gift, you give them some real light bulbs, like the bubbles maybe, or those big fat ones. I don't know. Okay. No twinkle little.
I like twinklies
Okay.
too.
Anybody else?
So this was hard for me because, like, I work for David. He doesn't need any more clients. I would love to get my license at some point. So, but I'm also a photographer. So, like, yesterday was super helpful with all of that. So I kind of combined all of those together and just did it that way. So I think I would like a married couple with a big family. Also, newly married because I think they're fun. Some successful single people.
What's a big family?
A big family, like 4 kids.
Oh, okay.
Because then you have to find a big house.
That's actually pretty smart.
Okay. First time home buyer, just because I think it's exciting and it's kind of a passion. Christian music, bartenders because they're fun and I used to be one. Well connected, influential. Nurses because I feel like all nurses kind of just like talk. So I feel like you would get a lot of business that way. Or works at a big corporation. Like I just did a shoot and got a client from this one business and now I'm shooting the whole business. So like we're just passes really quick that way.
It does.
Likes country music, but that's everyone. Works at
No, it isn't. Paul, is your, see, Paul, your people do not like country music. I didn't think they did.
Okay.
So, that's,
works-
music is really a defining kind of
yeah.
thing.
Works at a school or university just because they're well educated and I feel like it would pass around there as well. Outdoor person, dog person, loves wine or beer, and loves the change that's happening in Nashville because I feel like that's definitely a certain kind of person.
So where are these people?
I need to narrow it down more.
Where are they? Where's your store going to be?
My store, yeah. At this point, it would probably be, I found in Gallatin because that's where I'm from and that's where I know people and that's where I would have to start. So.
Does that demographic fit down? Yeah, we have country music. We got.
It fits about half of them,
Okay.
I would say.
Okay.
So, because I am kind of half of them, definitely.
Okay. Anybody else want to share? Yes.
Y'all give me good ideas. Grocery shops, boutique groceries, turnip trucks, sassafras, takes yoga, meditation, practices mindfulness, enjoys the outdoors, active in the Parks and Greenway, involved in community organizations, Urban Green Lab, Corner, Compact, kind of drinks the Kool-Aid with, if you will, about green living. Drives a hybrid vehicle or similar. Likes to garden or goes to the farmer's market. And he has or wants urban hens.
Are we looking at Betsy?
You have
Telling me.
you sure you don't really use Nashville?
Bring it South Nashville. Let's see. Political folks wanting more renewable energies, green jobs, smart growth, walkability, green cleaning practices, natural lawn care maintenance companies. Loves to camp, shops at REI, goes to music festivals.
Really different. That's a really different person than any of the others, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Not that she couldn't work with those others, but her whole being is going to be, her marketing, her messages is going to a different flavor, if you want to call it, because that's not the same person. Doesn't mean that they aren't all all of those people could have the traits, and we'd like them to have the traits that Steve shared, right? All of them. But those are not the same people. I didn't mean to cut you
Oh,
off.
that's fine.
But you had really given me, I got a vision.
So I'm actually an architect as well. So an architect, urban planner, landscape architect, or other design professional, interested in unique properties, food producing, energy producing, and income producing properties.
So you see how her messaging to her 30-day message, because you have to touch every 30 days your sphere and your client base, is going to be a different messaging than Lindsay or Caitlin or Paul or anybody's, right? It's not that it's not going to talk about real estate, but it's going to have a different twist, because the hook that's going to hook them is going to be very, very different. There is some leftover. So it's not that we're excluding everybody, but we're being who we are, and we're attracting those that are going to be attracted to that kind of thing. And yes, that's the good thing, is most everybody is needing a house of some kind to live, shelter. It's good. Anybody else? That was excellent, Betsy. Lizzie? Tim.
I'll
Go ahead.
So, I kind of already had some of the stuff in my head, but as I was listening, there were some good ones that made me think of my own. So,
Look at Tim. I see Tim on a bluff in Scotland.
it's the
It's
hat.
the hat. But you always have that. I mean, there's a whole look here going on.
I'm definitely a hat guy.
So is Tim, without even knowing, is Tim ideal client the same as Caitlin? Just without him saying anything, would you think? No? I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know. We haven't heard. But I'm just saying, how about Paul and Tim?
No.
No? Okay. How about Tim and Betsy? Yeah? Okay. Okay, let's hear it.
So, I'm more specifically interested in working with investors. And so, I have two short-term rentals here in town, 2 Airbnbs. So I'm specifically wanting to find investors who want to get into that same area of the market. And so I've got a team kind of already, I've got resources and a team kind of already built. I've got a really great property manager, got a really great interior designer, and along with all of the resources here and all of the listings that are available kind of already in-house, like in pocket here.
Right.
I'm super interested in being able to offer a service to other investors who want to get into the national market, specifically in the short-term rental space. So I want to be able to offer them essentially like my resources in acquisition, also with design and with management. And they can basically come to me and I can be like, hey, I can offer you this, 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 and this. If you want to just work with me, tell me what you want. Someone who is interested, who has an affinity for higher end design, or like appreciates.
Okay, so now we're getting into, are all investors created equal?
No.
Okay, so now you said you want to work with investors, but you've got some specifics about these investors. So tell me about these investors.
So risk tolerant, heavily interested in short-term rental, forward thinking. As I was listening, I kind of stole some people's, or kind of thought of my own, but probably 30 to 55 years old, likes or knows about or is interested in Gary Vee or Gary Vaynerchuk, if you know who he is. No, it's okay.
Who is he?
He's an entrepreneur, and he's got this vlog and talks a lot about mindset and business and stuff like that.
No, it's good.
And someone who also wants to, actually I wrote down preferably out of state, because that would also kind of fit in with the model of maybe what they're wanting as far as like kind of like a hands-off experience, but wanting like a high-end investment kind of thing.
Is that the people you're thinking of? Or is that your ideal client?
Me?
Yeah, because you said you have investors that,
Yeah.
are they the same kind of investor?
Similar. I normally like investors that do multifamily buildings or new development for multifamily.
I got that on mine too.
Yeah.
Okay, but you still haven't told me about and I'm just playing with it. I love this. Okay, everybody look at Tim, everybody look at John. Would you say they're both investors, they both want to work in that kind of skill? Yes, their clients are going to overlap, I'm sure. But what's the uniqueness? What is unique? Because you're going to say, I have people, and those are the kind of, and I'm not saying it's not good, but those are things that all investors are going to look for from an agent. But there is a twist. Every one of you have a twist that's going to draw a particular, what is it? What's the difference? What do you see the difference between Tim's and John's? And we're talking about what marketing companies do when they get a client. This is how they do it. So that they can figure out a campaign, a marketing campaign that attracts what you're wanting to be and that will be, you can relate to and they can relate to you. So just like all sellers and buyers are unique, and you're honing in on what would you guys say the difference between Tim and John is? If you, just for an exercise, just by looking, what would you think the difference in their investors would be? Anything? Anybody got anything?
Yeah, so I see like single, like a guy that's 30, 50 years old, has a kid, they look at retirement, they're like, hey, I want to go, get some Airbnb downtown and get started, versus guys been in business for 20, 30 years. It's like, I'm ready to get in a small apartment complex, I'm ready to have something a little bit bigger than just Airbnb.
Okay.
Like, I want to get started with a short-term rental that you can manage, but I want to invest in this building with them.
So what about those people? This is a more decent.
Yeah, I like to go to a brewery, and I like to sit at a cigar shop.
He's going to go to a brewery, and he's going to what?
Go to a cigar shop.
A cigar shop.
Yeah.
Would you say that's true?
I would go to a cigar shop too.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll do both.
Okay, that was good. That was good. See, you already are transmitting just by your whole image of who you are. To me, these are very different people, but yet they're looking for the same type of client, but there's a uniqueness. And that's what I want you guys to hone in. All of you have a uniqueness to the person. All of us want to work with buyers. Anybody here turn down an investor if they got one? No. Okay, but that's not your primary. Okay, that's your primary. And who are the investors? Are you going with some guy that's coming in from New York that has his own jet, wears a suit and tie, and is a big, slick kind of mover shaker?
Possibly. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Someone who part of my thing is someone who really appreciates like higher end design or like things that are very aesthetically pleasing, like kind of more the high end short-term rental situation.
Okay.
But also like him as well, like multifamily as well. I'm also super interested in that space too.
I'm really trying to go for the differences, not the sameness. What about you? Any differences?
I'm more of a numbers person, so I like looking at margins and finding certain properties that are Class B, Class C that can put certain types of renovations and expand that. And
Okay.
focus.
No, that's not. That,
Well, I'm interested in that too. I am. I specifically look
I
for that.
understand.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, both of you talk different.
Yes.
Okay?
That's true.
It doesn't mean you don't end up in the same place, but your whole being is more about the design and the creativity
That's true.
and he's more about, I don't care if it's
Well,
the
it's not like
ugliest building in town, if it margins out, and I'm being extreme. Doesn't mean you won't work with a numbers person or you won't work with someone that wants a high design, but that's not your comfort level, your ability to relate. And so when you go and talk, you're going to talk different.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to be relatable to different types of investors. Okay, so I was just going through this as an exercise. And you each do that with yourselves. Not that you're not going to work with somebody else. You will. But there's just the law of attraction. And you go where you go, and then those people are attracted to who you are. And it's funny, if you look at how you're dressed, I'm not saying that either one of you is good or bad, but you don't even look like you would hang out at the same cigar shop. Maybe you would. You know, I'm not saying, do you get it?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to harp on this. Kira, do you have anything to say for yourself?
I have very few, if you'd like to hear my, are you asking about my list?
Okay.
My list is a little on the short side, but I'll go for it. Loves dogs, foodie, loves to travel, knows good coffee, 37206, natural, Airbnb traveler. I've run an Airbnb for 4.5 years, and I love it when people
Travel to where?
just like can use Airbnb. There's a lot of people that still aren't aware of it,
Okay.
so I say Airbnb traveler just to be aware of what it is. Looking for passive income, maximizes tax write-offs. My dad's a forensic accountant, and that is it.
Okay.
I love the tax write-off. And I do all this knows EQ, which is more than or different than IQ. Enjoys kids, appreciates paleo keto. We are paleo keto in our house, but it's not for everyone, but once again, just to be educated.
Is that what you eat? All meat and fat if you want to?
Lots of veggies and meat, basically. Yeah.
No carbs.
Flosses daily, because I'm a hygienist. And if you don't go to the dentist, you've got to floss your teeth every day. That's my...
You know, I worked for a dentist 2 years out of high school before real estate, and I'm not the same way.
People are just like, I'm scared of dentists, I don't want to go. That's cool. Floss your teeth every single day. It's a non-negotiable.
Floss your teeth.
Floss your teeth every day. Water pick does count. Doesn't get starstruck. I think it's good to, I can kind of meet anyone.
You don't like germs.
What?
In the music industry, they called those the germs. Germ Town was on Monterey before they turned it into something really fancy. What does germ stand? Germ. It's like a germ. Isn't there a musician here who knows germing?
I'm a musician, but I've never heard that term. But I
You're
know.
too young. Germs are those people that just germ onto you.
Another word is diesel sniffer.
It's called a what?
Diesel sniffer. They follow the tour buses.
Those are real germs.
Diesel.
If you go to CMA, it's even worse than a group. Okay, lots of germs in town. Okay, go ahead.
Residential and second-time buyer.
So I want you to go with your list, and if you want to bring them to me, I'll look at them. Did you want to do it, Lizzie, or not?
I have a few that are different. Transplant from West Coast or East Coast, millennial, not into traditional layouts or design, into contemporary, mid-century, into fitness, sustainability, cooking, can vent about the lack of sushi here.
Oh, there's some good sushi. You should have been here in 1991
Oh, wow.
from LA. I had to go to LA just to eat.
I think that's the only different one.
Okay, she talked about sustainability and stuff. Is she the same as Betsy? Just not the same person. but still concerned with. Okay. Kathleen or anybody else? I don't want to shut anybody down. Or Kristen?
I'll read it quickly.
Okay.
Okay. Age 60 to 65. Drinks great wine. Loves farmer markets. Season ticket holders. Nashville Symphony. Golfers.
Ooh.
World travelers. Europe, Australia. 2 kids college age or older.
Wow.
Former New Englanders lived in various places, likes 5-star hotels, loves the theater, likes to host parties, attends shows at Ryman, loves to go to movies. Business people, CEOs, directors, likes fine restaurants, likes classical music, likes football and sports, skiers downhill, drinks Guinness, soon to be retired, likes dogs, takes long walks, loves nature, loves city life, likes attending live music in Nashville, community people involved, appreciates art, rides horses, philanthropic, likes great coffee and espresso.
Wow, that's a
Conservative houses.
what?
Conservative houses.
But do you? That's a whole
Yeah.
different category of people. So her whole marketing and her whole, that is phenomenal. That isn't anything like, so when we all say, what do? I sell real estate. Really? So now you have to pick that person, and how would you describe what you do? So I'm not saying you have that answer, but they're called, if I told you, and anybody know what the word, the movie Speed was? Let me see Speed.
With Keanu Reeves?
No, Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
Okay. So Speed. Right. Okay, and if nobody knew what Speed was, what if I told you Speed was Die Hard on a bus? Would you instantly know what that was? Because what is Die Hard? I mean, you use something that ties in. When you come from LA, if I were to describe, let's see, I'm going to describe Belle Meade. Belle Meade is like Bel Air to LA. Would you immediately know what it was? It's by taking something and associating it. It's really cool. So what were you? I'm like, I do, so that if somebody asks, what do you do? It's not, I sell real estate. You would say, I work with investors that are interested in the design and, well, I don't know. You got to think about it. What would you do? I work with people who are interested in creating a margin of, and it would have a twist. It would be the same thing, but it would have a different twist. Every one of you has to be unique, because you are. Do you want to, are you my last one?
Yeah, mine was, I didn't do it right, but I would say that mine's pretty similar to Caitlin's. Definitely like the working woman or a modern housewife. Someone that likes dogs, either has a family or is going to grow their family.
So I want you to think more specific now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what I'm going for. These where you can actually see this person. You even know where they are, where they hang out. I'm going to pass some stuff around to you that shows you some of the different marketing that goes on, and how Jamie Helms has been in the business here 20 years, and he came up with this logo, and I want you to look at it. It's urban to the core. That's his thing. And look at his look, the colors, everything speaks to that. And then I have Cassie, who was a nanny for people in Belle Meade. And hers is your real estate nanny. Because do you know what the nanny is on TV? She's this, but she got the job. I mean, but that's who her market is. And so she's got some flowers. Are these the same people? No. Do they both sell and buy? Yeah. But they're appealing to a different market. And then there's Mark, who is an ex-actor, and he wrote an announcement card that is so real. It says, "Dear friends and family, just wanted to let you know I'm happy with my recent affiliation to one of Nashville's greatest companies. Some of you are longtime friends, others are neighbors here in Hillsborough Village. You may be parents of a youngster or two attending Eakin Elementary School. If you are, I'm the guy in the picture here walking my son Hudson to Miss Wood's class. every day with my wife Gina. My friend Alan, hi Alan, asked me why I chose Village. Easy, I said, their business model is second to none. Their commitment to giving back, proud to be there. If you're a friend, I'll talk to you soon. If you're a neighbor, I hope to meet you. That's so warm and fuzzy and friendly. I mean, Mr. Rogers could have written this, you know? It's that kind of vibe, which isn't your kind of vibe. You're not going to write this. This would be, who is them? It's not you. Okay? So I'm passing these around, and then I'm going to tell you, and we'll take a break, and we're going to come back and get into listing. So I came here, and you know, as I told you, nobody was looking for another realtor in town. And so about 8 months into my time here, I knew no one except one person. And it was, and I listed their house, and it was pretty desperate. I mean, in that, I don't know what I thought. I'd fly into town and everybody would just be so excited that I had 22 years in business, and they would just, wow, we're so glad you're here. It didn't happen. And so I realized that I had to really start looking how I was going to build a business in a town I had just moved to, even though I was experienced. Okay? And at that time, in 1991, everybody was relocating here from LA in the music industry, believe it or not. And I thought it was unusual. And the music business, and Saturn had come, and so there was a lot of relocation. And everybody was advertising in newspaper print saying, I'm a Nashville native, I know the market here, I know the neighborhoods, all this kind of thing that I couldn't say. So I was advertising, and these were when you didn't have media online, so we were in those magazines and a newspaper. I was advertising, I've been a realtor for 22 years and all this stuff. Trying not to even mention I was in California because I really wanted everybody to think I was equal to everybody else. And one day I was in desperation, laying in bed, going, and you do those kind of prayers, oh my God, help me. Oh God. And all of a sudden, I jumped out of bed and I had this brilliant idea, and the thing came to me and it said, quit advertising what you aren't and just advertise what you are. And I jumped up and I wrote this ad. You can see I was a lot younger. And it says, Nashville bound, with a question mark and an explanation mark. The music business and a great real estate market brought me to Nashville from California in 1991. If you are relocating, call me and I'll show you why I fell in love with Middle Tennessee. With 21 years of real estate experience and a personal knowledge of the relocation industries, I can make your transition a smooth one. Your trust and confidence are my top priority. I put this in all the local things. I put it in all my newspapers in LA and California where I sold. And I put it a teeny little ad, because that's all I could afford, in Billboard magazine for 6 months. I was slammed. Wow. That ad made my business. When I started to advertise what I was, and I picked a target market. And then I had people calling and saying, well, I'm not from LA and I'm not in the music business, but could you help me? I'm sorry. My house is small. And of course, I'm from Ohio. Can you help me relocate? It was phenomenal. And not only was it so phenomenal with clients, but I had people calling me in this town. This is another way I built my business. And they go, we're getting a listing. I think it would be perfect for your clients in LA. I became this desired person that people wanted to share their business with. I mean, it was phenomenal. It was unbelievable. I became famous in the industry and out because all these people that were already here wanted my clients that I was attracting. It was just amazing. And it was just because quit trying to market what you aren't and market what you are. And that was, I was a transplant. And why was I a transplant? Because this was a place to be. And if you're wanting to be in the right place, I guess that's what I heard you say. Investing. You came because this is a better investment market than Los Angeles. So you want some of those people. So, I'll pass this.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
In that regard, while people are still looking. So print and now, web media. What is, does print work still at all?
Well, it does, depending on your demographic.
Okay.
So, Kathleen, would you think that print might work for your people? In certain things, like in focus.
Well, for age 60, I think people are still reading print with that. People in that age group are actually still reading print.
And those kind of people are probably looking at in focus, right?
And you're also reading the programs at the Sherman
Yeah.
and at CPAC.
See what I'm saying?
Oh, that's so
Are your people reading print? God knows. See what I'm saying? So that's not a generic question. That's not an open question.
But they check their mail, and that's about it.
So where are you? Exactly. So you've got to go where they're going to be. So yeah, Paul's not going to take an ad out in the In Focus magazine. And that's what we do. Sometimes we spend money in places that are not, bang for the buck. So I tell people, I get sellers say, I want to be in Focus. Well, just because you want to see your picture there doesn't mean that's where you need to be to sell your house, or vice versa. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you got to be where the people are, but you got to know who your people are. You got to know. And that's what this exercise is. And I'm sorry I spent a lot of time on this, but I really want you to know that if you're going to build a business,
It's really important.
you've got to find out. Every company in the world, every real estate company comes up with an image. And then they figure out who is their ideal client. Do you think that the agent that comes here to Village is the same kind of agent that goes to Worth? Not that I have done anything. Does anybody know what Worth is? Okay. Do you think it's the same agent that comes here is the same agent that goes to, even California? Could be. I'm trying to think. You guys don't know Worth. That's about as opposite as I can.
I interviewed at another, a couple of, I only interviewed officially at one other, but the cultures were completely different. And I knew there was just, I would not fit into that culture.
And that's what it is. It's not, I'm not saying I am prejudiced, but some isn't better than the other. It's different.
Right.
And it has to fit you.
I feel like this and Sotheby's is going to be two different worlds, right?
Well, now Sotheby's really, now that was at Lippman, and he went Remax, was so not Larry's culture, and it's so upturned. And Sotheby's went to Zeitlin, which fits that culture.
That was like, so that's the new.
Zeitlin took over Sotheby's.
That makes more sense now.
Yeah, I went over and interviewed over Gary Ashton at Remax, just because I had a buddy, Diego, that had gone over there. It was good. I mean, they had a good lead generation stuff to it, but the whole education and preparedness, I think here is really what I was after. And the vibe.
Total different.
Yeah.
None one's good or bad. Okay, we're going to come back in 7 minutes, meaning this is a quick break. And we're going to start with listings. And then I remember at noon, we are taking an hour for lunch, noon to 1. And we have to go out of here. So you'll have to, you can pack up, why don't we just pack up your stuff and put it up there if you don't want to carry it with you, so that you can just grab it, but we're going to have to clear the tables. Okay, so let's take a quick break. Wasn't that fun? So fun.
So Bobby, it's so funny that Scotland came up twice this morning. I was like, this is weird. Maybe I need to go to Scotland. Because last night I started this thing called Fun Facts about real estate, just to memorize something. And did you guys? It's just a little fun fact, but in Scotland, when they pay off their mortgage, they paint your door red. So I was like,
I painted my door red, and that wasn't even close to the truth.
right. Well, I posted that about Scotland last night, and then he's like, Scotland. I went to Scotland, and then he's like,
Isn't that fun?
you look like you're from Scotland, and I was like,
But that is a fun fact. Those are the kind of things that, certain people, I think that's really interesting.
yeah, we'll see. But I mean, I thought it was. So it's
And that's
right. And I love your hair. I got blue.
Oh, the blue. Yeah.
That's the most awesome thing. It's just so cool.
I am weird.
I
love it. Artsy, I love it.
So you like Diego?
Oh, yeah.
He's great.
Yes, great. Is he happy?
He is. He's on.
Didn't he have a baby?
Do what?
Didn't he have a baby?
He did have a baby. Yeah. He actually got into a side business where with a personal financial planner guy, where that guy was backed by some other investors, and they were looking for just long-term rentals. So they want to have up to 100 long-term rentals in the next 5 years. So Nashville's not a great market for some of that, but they want to be able to buy in 50,000 houses. So he's looking around Martin, Tennessee, and went out to Jackson, and Columbia, one of some of those places to try to build that. But he's going to have a piece of that whole business. Yeah, and he gets commissions out, and then he gets down the road. I think he's on track to. I think he's already done like $2 million this year.
Good.
Yeah.
Jen, my daughter, has done that. She found French Lake. And do you know where that is? It's in Indiana.
Where?
The
Oh, Indiana, yeah.
French Lake, it's only 3 hours from here.
Yeah.
And it's having Larry Bird's from here. They're having a resurgence, and she's got
Oh my goodness.
4 homes and then 4 other lots.
Okay.
She's owning this whole section, and they were 50,000, 60,000. The highest price one was 120. She's got them all Airbnb, and some are long-term rentals,
That's right.
and she's fixed
Making
them.
hand over fist.
Well, they are, but they're just. This is where she's gonna retire.
Oh, okay, so she's gonna, where does she live now?
Here, she's the COO.
Oh, okay, this one, okay.
I know. I only have 2.
Okay.
Well, what drew her to Facebook?
They went once when they were, probably about 12 years ago skiing. That was a close place that had a ski lift.
Yeah.
And it was really jarring, but run down.
Yeah.
And then it has a casino, and it has those big, beautiful, 2 big, huge hotels there.
Yeah.
I mean, it has a huge lake, and there's boating and a huge marina, and then they have this charming little town, and then Larry Bird's starting to create a center.
So she wants to retire there, but not here. That's interesting. I mean, who was there for her? Like, besides that, great fun stuff. Are there people there for her?
Now she's practically in town. Everybody knows because they bought all these properties. So she goes at least once a month, and she's met friends and people. It's only 3 hours from here.
I think it's going to be on the next hot places to be listed down the road. Yeah, there's parts of Colorado, those ski towns where there's houses you can get for nothing. Maybe back in the day, and that was $1 million.
When I moved here, I should have gobbled up all set.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, God, it was a dump. Everything was practically, there were $30,000 houses. I was gone. I should have, I don't know.
Well, who knew?
Well, I should have known after I saw that happen in Los Angeles. I should have known. But I came here for a whole different reason, which was stupid. I was burned out and tired, and I came here to relax, not invest. And I don't know what I was thinking. I was only 42. I thought I was good. I misjudged that when I did wrong. But I've done very well. I did well.
Sure. I met a guy the other day who he bought back in that area, probably about 03. He bought his house for $80,000. Then he bought a quadplex next door for $110,000, and he rents that quadplex out for $12,000 a month. He paid $110,000. He makes $150,000 a year.
They call that what, mailbox money? Everybody needs mailbox money.
Our Airbnb behind our house is a nice little position. We got lucky with that when we moved to Dallas.
Yeah. Who knew that? Who even thought of Airbnb? I mean, that was like, what? That's like a whole new.
People pay you this.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
But Nashville wasn't that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I did not, I thought I was so unique that I moved to Nashville. I mean, I thought, and people in LA thought I was out of my mind. Are you
Coming
crazy?
up.
Where, you're going where? I mean, when I said Nashville, Tennessee, people imagined
So,
No shoes.
what year did you move here?
91.
So mom moved from California to Dixon in the early 60s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that Nashville wasn't this Nashville.
Well, even in 91, Nashville was.
Well, yeah, still wasn't this.
Right, I remember going, cause
And I didn't know it was gonna be, it's kind of
She
like,
said she had
it's
no
so
idea.
funny how life works and God and all that, because I thought I was moving to the ends of the earth, and I picked a place that I thought was out in the middle of nowhere, because I wanted to be. I didn't want traffic, I didn't want growth, I didn't want any of the things. I couldn't have picked the hot spot of the country, plus the place I bought, my 6 acres, there was no Cool Springs, and now it is 6 minutes from Cool Springs down the street.
Do you think you helped create some of that?
Huh?
Do you think you helped create and shape some of that? Like what you brought with you, like some experiences?
I don't know, maybe, but, you know, it certainly wasn't something I thought then. But I guess when I said, come on down, I'll tell you what happened. I guess I did. It's my fault. But I mean, it's amazing, because I had no idea that if I'd had a crystal ball, I could have done better for my investment.
right, my daughter was telling me, I remember when my husband and I started dating, or whatever, I was in high school,
She's like, they told us we had.
and we'd go down to the station and like taking your life in your hand. It was so, oh my gosh. It was like, not safe, and I mean,
Major catastrophe like
it
that.
is, adults, yeah. I wish I know, but I, when it came to my business, I was thinking
Let's get back together.
And I'm not old.
I love string cheese.
Right.
And people who don't string it and eat it, it's all wrong. My husband bites it.
it's not
You
fun.
can't eat
Doesn't
string
taste the
cheese
same.
that way.
It doesn't taste the same.
Might as well just have a piece of cheese. This is not an experience.
And it's scary. I like it to get a little bit warm too, because it's too cold. Cheese should be real good. Oh, I didn't get it.
Oh, I didn't know
I don't think it came over this way. We're all separated.
Yes, I don't know the difference. It wasn't. Everybody need new time, some more time left.
Oh, I would like to know.
Us, these are real. These are time blocking sheets that some other agents did. I want you to just see examples of how they did it. Okay. You guys don't want to stay till 3.
Nope.
Pay attention. Okay, page 47. I told you that you all got a book from Mark Deutschman, whether you've read it or not. It's called 1 Mile Radius. We're on page 47, track 2. You should have a track 2 tab. John?
What?
Track 2.
Oh yeah, I'm on.
Yeah, okay. So, I told you that I took quotes out of Mark's book. So here's one, another aha one. And he says, everybody did get a Mark book, didn't you? John, did you get Mark's book?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't get one yet.
No, you have to read it. You didn't get one?
I didn't get one either.
Oh, what?
Colin came in with some books. She didn't give it to you? Alright, make sure you get one. So it says, how the game has changed. With internet apps, key systems, showing system, real estate search engines, online advertising, contact management systems, and such. But in many ways, it's still the same. With an emotional buyer searching for their dream and an emotional seller making a life transition, working with us to come together in a home sale. Or in the case of investors, even though it may be less emotional, it's still a big deal. It's people who are trying, either through their own residence or in investments, to create a portfolio or a security of life, wouldn't you say? Even investors, they may be more not so emotional, but I think deep down they are. Wait till an investor.
Yeah. Behavior is always driven by emotion.
Everybody always wants to win.
Exactly. And so even though they may have less of that warm, fuzzy front door with the picket fence, they still are emotionally committed to making sure that they can build stability. So keep in mind that really, and when I talk to agents, it's funny, I am all for the technology, but I had an agent in my office who's trying to talk this guy who really needs to sell his house. This was yesterday. Who he's 80 and is on, oxygen. He's been in his house 52 years. His wife's died. He hasn't touched it since she died. And he needs to get out. And it's about a $750,000 house. And he needs to get out of this house. But he said, I've been working with him 6 months and he signed a listing, but he won't let me put it on the market. I keep telling him he has to. And I said, quit talking about the house and what he has to do and find out what's going on. I know. And he said, well, I know he's probably just, I said, no. Not that he probably is. We all know he probably is. But he wants you have got to get down and figure out, ask questions, let him tell you. He'll make his own decision if you let him tell you, than you try to tell him. So this business of selling is still about getting down to what is it the individual inside wants. What is it? Because if you don't know that, then you're going to miss the mark all the time. It's going to be like this. And then nobody really understands why you're not getting it. It's because you're not speaking on the same language. You're not singing from the same tune. And you really got to know where the people are coming from before you all can start singing. So let's go to page 48 and 9, and it's the seller's needs analysis. So we're going to talk about sellers, and then we're going to talk about buyers tomorrow in the afternoon and all that. But obviously, there's some things that you need to know before you can even start into the process of listing properties. You've heard the saying, you have to list to last, have you? Now, I don't think that's necessarily true in today's market, but having a listing doesn't mean attractive. It's like a sign, it's like, you have a driveway. So having a listing is certainly desirable, would you say? Even in the investor world, wouldn't it be good to have a listing, even if it was an investor? So I want you to start focusing on, at least in your business plan. Have you all done a business plan? Okay, we're going to be doing one towards the end of the year. I want you to write down a couple things. How much are you wanting to make? Gross. By gross, I mean forget taxes and everything. But after villages split or your particular company contribution, how much do you want to take after you're split between now and a year from now? 12 months. John, is that? And you're laughing.
Sorry, I was just thinking of one of those Remax skits. I don't know if you've ever seen them on YouTube. But they're really funny. Remax, they do these little parody skits, and they have this one, they're making fun of Keller Williams, but this guy just keeps putting zeros down on those boards. Like, who wants to make that? Worth watching.
saying. But here's what I say. I want you to be aggressive, but I want you to be also a little realistic. So, in other words, obviously, 500,000 might be wonderful, and you may want that. I'm not trying to tell you no. But in your first year, that's probably unlikely. Not possible, I'm not saying. So, and maybe thinking of your demographic, again, your people, what price points are you, all of that comes into play. Just like what kind of shoes are we selling? We're talking about margins here, even if it's. So, how much would that be after your split? And then, what is your average price point of the demographic we're talking? I mean, this is all speculation. It could be different. But you've gone into deciding who your person is. What's their price point? Average. Right? Anybody have an idea?
250.
Yours are 250. Would you say, now remembering Paul, is that right? Is that about right? Okay. So if his average price point for his people, which I agree 100%, say is 250, based on their demographic, their area, and all that, if I divide it, so if I told you that 1 million equals $30,000 gross, 1 million is 30,000. 1 million sales volume at 3% commission. Okay? So 1 million is 3% is 30,000. And you've got a number here of whatever. So let's say you've got 90,000. That would be what?
3 million.
3 million, but it wouldn't because you've got some companies' dollars. So it'd probably have to be closer to 4. Okay? So let's say we take 4 million and you divide that by what your average price would be. So if you took 4 million, Paul, and divided it by 250, how many sales is that? 16 sales. So Paul needs to find 16 people that he can work with in the next 12 months that fit that demographic. Now, if he finds somebody at 500, he only has to do 15, right? Do you see what I'm saying? But generally speaking, that knows. Okay, so does 16 seem enough in a year? So it wasn't 100. It was only 16 people. Now, out of those 16 people, how many do you anticipate would be sellers? And how many do you anticipate would be buyers?
Plan half and half, because that kind of pretty.
It's up to you. This is your
I would
line.
probably do a third sellers and 2
Yeah.
thirds.
Especially first year.
Yeah, especially.
Okay, so what is that in numbers?
That's fun, I like that. That's good. Probably 12 buyers and probably just 4, probably 4 listings.
Okay, you just set his goals for the year. So you need to work on.
And that's much more manageable, right? It's like,
Huh?
if I'm that's much more manageable, expectation-wise. If I'm 1 buyer a month, and if I'm 1 seller a quarter. How easy does that sound, right?
Sounds really.
It's a lot less overwhelming.
So how do you feel?
A lot less overwhelming.
You can do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know, so.
Was that easy? Y'all need to do that. And see how it works. And then you have expenses. And you need to put all your expenses, not your business, not only business expenses. Because you're gonna have to invest in, you're gonna have to have the board dues, you're gonna have to have, some mailings and a few things like that. But basically, that's what you gotta do. And if you wanna make more than that, what do you gotta do? I was married to a man, that's where I got my first set of real estate experience, because I came from a blue collar. You go to work, you work 8 hours, you get paid, you come home and you had X amount of dollars, and that was it. You had to live in that budget. So I married a man who was an entrepreneur and a real estate agent. And oh my God, the first years, I just didn't get it. I was panicked. And he would say, "Don't worry, I'll just sell another house." And he did. Okay, just sell another house. told her, he told us, our daughter, if you want a swing set, you better find me a listing. So she door knocked the neighborhood and got a listing from her friend. She went around saying, my dad said I could get a swing set if you sell your house.
Brilliant marketing.
And she got one. That's some cracker. So you wonder why both my children are in real estate. Okay, so back to the seller's needs analysis. So we have to get down to what is the need. So where do you find a seller? Okay, where would you find a seller? How would you find a seller? In your little circle. One of them is to find a for sale by owner. Okay, and if you see a for sale by owner that works in your demographic, that's a potential. And how many people think that would just make them absolutely petrified to go talk to a for sale by owner? Okay, what if I told you it is your absolute duty
Well, see,
to know?
in the groups, so the small groups, that's one of the challenges to do that. And
No, it's not a challenge, it's an order.
same thing. It was a challenge for me.
So it's a challenge, but it's also, man, it's
Right.
not just,
So I did 2 of them last week, and both, when they answered the phone, it's like, well, actually, just yesterday I signed with a listing agent.
ooh,
Both of them. Both of them at the same
that
listing
should have been inspiring, not negative.
Or
What about
was like, I took me too long to build the courage, right? I was like, I should have called. I should have.
That is proof of my next statement, is that all for sale by owners will list if they don't sell in the first 30 to 45 days. That's statistics. And there are no more for sale by owners than there ever were. The percentage of for sale by owners to listing is still about the same. It's about 16%, you know, yes.
I actually, we own the house next door to us, and I listed it for sale by owner in the process of, like, making a decision as to whether or not I was going to get my real estate license. And it was a great exercise, just to kind of see what would happen and how I did get bombarded by a lot of agents, but I was actually, it felt like I was being bombarded by agent-like assistants that were reading me a script.
Yeah.
And it took, like, I actually had 1 or 2 agents that actually called, meant it, were asking questions, and not just like kind of forcing me into like listing with them. So I say that and just like an encouragement that
Yeah, so
I
you've
found
got,
a few that could actually communicate with me that
Right.
weren't like overseas reading some script to me.
right.
'Cause that's-
For sale by owners are nothing more than real sellers, okay? So we've got to look at them in the same way. So the needs analysis, I'd like to go over here and skip a few pages. Well, we'll stay on this because I'm going to just, I think I've got for sale by owners on page 53, but I want to mush them together because I want you not to be afraid of for sale by owners. Because there's reasons why for sale by owner is for sale by owner. So we're going to go back and forth between page 53 and page 48 because I don't see much difference. A for sale by owner is motivated to sell, but they're not convinced, this is page 53, just keep your hand kind of like that, are not convinced that anyone can market their home as well as they can. Do you think from an investment standpoint, you're going to have to start looking at some people that may be not on the market? Or are for sale by owners that are looking to sell some of these bigger plots of land that they've had forever and their houses are there? So it's important that you start talking to people because your investors are asking you to find the properties. So this is an exercise, no matter if it's for you as an individual. So the reality is your job is what in this business? Know the inventory. Okay? Know the inventory. There's only one way you're going to know the inventory. And that's either to be spending time in MLS looking at neighborhoods and in the tax records and or looking for sale by owners that fall into your thing and going and talking to them. Now, calling is the first step, but how do you call? They, like you said, they've been bombarded 1,000 people have called the minute a sign goes in the yard. Same with expired. 1,000 people. What is going to set you apart? And here's my thing, is you're not going to get the listing. That isn't your first motivation. Your first motivation is, I need to know the inventory. It is my job, if somebody comes to me and wants to see houses in a certain area, and they want to see everything that's on the market that is available to them, I better know everything that's on the market, not just what I found in MLS. Because by God, they'll find that for sale by owner. So you have a duty to yourself and your business to know the inventory. So you call up and you say, and this isn't bait and switch, this is true. You call up and you say, I understand that, or I drive by your house, or whatever, and I see that you're selling your home. I am so-and-so with Village, and my demographic area that I work in and attract buyers is in this area. And it's really important that I know what's available. Is it 12?
No, it's like 11.
They told me 12. Oh, so you really are going to be longer than an hour. Oh, that's not what she said. Okay. Okay. What I'd like to do is, I would like to continue this, and I'd like to go downstairs in the room downstairs so that we can at least continue this for a little bit, because I think I don't want to cut it short. So can we go downstairs to that big room? I thought it was 12 to 1, but whatever, I guess it's 11 to 1.